Welcome back to another Phill-osophy Arc episode. In this episode, I'll be covering economic stress relief, because in these trying times, the cost of food's going up, the price of fuel's going up. The ability to make a life that is sustainable on the income we all have is going down. Now, this topic was chosen by one of my long-time passionate viewers. Andre, this one's for you, buddy. We're going to cover budgeting. Now, budgeting is very important. It's what we allocate to ourselves to use each week. So a basic budget would be take a couple of weeks or a month's worth of data and go, how much do I spend on rent or mortgage? How much do I spend on food or beverages or drinks? What is my disposable liquid and food income, What am I spending on internet bills and phone plan? What am I spending on shopping for fun and products? Like, do I want to buy that new hard drive for my PC? Well, the other one's not dead yet, so maybe we'll make that next month's expenditure, Allocate our money as soon as it comes into the bank, and then we can lock it down and have a purpose for it. After quitting the smoking and cutting down on my drinking, I've been saving a lot more money. And I've been allocating it into other things, like my business, because it has a higher importance and worth being spent on my business than my disposable entertainment, fun, in the sun, and all that kind of stuff. It's about allocating our funds where we need it most and saving the rest for when we might need it most or want to enjoy that holiday to go see our loved ones overseas, That is budgeting in a nutshell. The next one is work-life balance. How hard do we want to work and slog ourselves on the workplace or our business? And how hard do we want to have a work-life balance? Do we want to allocate time to enjoy life? Or do we want to grind for 6 months straight? Or 2 weeks on and 2 weeks off kind of deal, what is our work-life balance? What does it look like to us as individuals, What is our desires? Do we want to be a hard worker all the time and get that once a year holiday? Because for me currently, I get about 9 to 10 days off a year, And a lot of that is spent with family and friends. That's like total days off. Not just like a half day here or there, but like an absolute dedicated day is 9 to 10 days a year for me. Now the next one is alternate shopping. Don't buy brand new. I don't buy brand new. This nice jacket here, $12. This shirt, $9. This tie, found it in hard rubbish. This tie pin, Tiger's Eye, and the Tiger's Eye cufflinks, as seen in the episode 51 Find Your Fashion, they were a gift passed on to me by my grandfather after his passing, And this hat, $2 from the op shop. So it's about budgeting and thrifting and op shopping and buying it cheap. Garage sales are another great one. Vintage and junk stores are another good one. Anywhere where we can save $1 and allocate it to a better cause is a better thing, Next we have DIY, do it yourself. So I had a new lawnmower that I acquired about 2 years ago, and I continued to deadlift it into the back of my car the same way. And of course, because it weighed more than the old lawnmower, I did my back. So I immediately went to the doctors and then to the physio, and I got a whole physio plan, and then I spent my 4 days off work in recovery mode building a new set of ramps for my for the boot of my car so I could roll that mower up the ramps. And it was basically just metal sheet screwed onto wooden planks with some door hinges from the hardware and a packet of screws from the hardware. I capped the ends and folded them over, did a bit of panel beating, and then I sanded the edges and the corners so it wouldn't be sharp and cut me up. And then I glued down with some shoe glue, some felt. As it hooks onto the boot of the car, it's felted so it doesn't scratch the car up. That was a custom job, and it probably cost me about $37 for the whole thing, instead of buying specific ramps for hundreds of dollars, So if you can build it, don't buy it. Next is secondhand everything. I began out here with a secondhand fishing rod in the old fiberglass. It was heavy as hell, cork handle, weighed a ton, secondhand fishing reel on loan. And about a year later, I picked up a slightly newer rod for about $10. And then I caught the biggest fish in town that is on the wall of the pub. It used to be right up here, but like, what's the point of having it here when no one's gonna see it, you know? So hard work and catching the best trout doesn't necessarily mean I had to have the best gear. So if you can get secondhand, folks, get secondhand, because op shops and thrift stores and vintage stores and junk stores are really, really good for that. You can save a lot of money. The next one is need versus want. And we might need something. So the other day I had a backpack spray with a crank handle on the side, and I was spraying for a client, and the entire piston mechanism that pumped up the liquids and pressurized them before it shot them out the end of the spray hose, it absolutely crapped his pants, you know. So it didn't work. Not even a bit of detergent to make it lubricated and slide up and down would make it work. So I told the client I'm going to pause the clock, knock 10 minutes off of mucking around trying to make it work. I went straight down to the hardware store. I bought a new spray unit, a 10 litre one instead of a 25 litre backpack one. I got back down to the client and the job. I set the thing up, and then I continued on the hourly rate for him, and I got the job finished. Then I immediately claimed that receipt onto my business through my digital phone app from how to run my business, you know. And I immediately wrote that off as an expenditure, and I continued the job. That was a need right there because I had no other option. But if I wanted, I would have waited a while and got that spray unit at a cheaper price if I could have. So that's need versus want. There's also the reframe of I prefer this instead of I need this. I prefer to get a second-hand, newer, better working model spray unit, but time did not allow. And I like to stick to my deadlines and my promises to my clients and my business, you know, because I'm a man of my word. Now, the next one is buying clothes and things out of season. One of the biggest ones out here is the Mount Beauty Op Shop, of which I'm a part of and volunteer there at least twice monthly. Before every winter season, we year-round collect all the donated ski gear from all over. And 2 weeks before winter season starts, we have a massive ski sale. We sell heavily discounted items at a fraction of the cost. Like one or 2 year old ski jacket, brand new, $100, $200, $300. Our price, $20 or about $60, you know. But average is about $40 for a ski jacket. Boots and things are the same, heavily discounted, less than 1/3 the price, sometimes less than 1/5 the price. So that's really important, buying things out of season. Granted, you're going to hold on to it for a little while longer until you need it, but you've saved a lot of money if you've got a bit of room. And it's all about planning ahead with our finances. The further into the future that we can see, the better we're going to be. Now, the last one is wallet trigger discipline. What I mean by this is trigger discipline in a situation of firearms on the gun range and target shooting and hunting and all that and clay targets is trigger finger control. It's like having a safety on. And sometimes we need trigger finger discipline on our wallets. We can see a really nice thing, so such as I bought this. This is an impulse buy, and it projects a starscape and a space nebula onto the ceiling of my room. Did I need to buy it at $30? Hell no. Did I want it? Hell yeah. But did I need it? No siree, that was an impulse buy. Now, if I had held my wallet trigger discipline and thought for about 10 minutes and going, do I really need it? Nah. Is it cool? Yeah. Is it going to make my life better? Probably not. That's $30 I could have spent on fuel, which would get me these days about probably 10 litres, you know. Could be 12, but we're in a sucky time for the fuel crisis, you know. Now, wallet trigger discipline is something that we can exercise all the time. We could pack our own lunch and make our own food at home, and hell, I've got some bottles and a screw capping or a bottle capping machine, like a little handle. I can cap my own beverages at home. I could mix up a cordial or a cold iced tea and put it in a bottle and cap it, and I could bring that to work and I could have my own lunch for a fraction of the cost. So thinking about ways to save and alternate methods and saving money on packing home lunches, you know. Making big batch food and containering it up and freezing it off so you don't have to eat the whole lot all at once and get slowly, progressively more and more bored and tired of that flavour, you know. That's wallet trigger discipline. Now, there's probably many, many more methods out there which would help us save money, and if you want to find them, that's up to all of us as individuals to do a little bit more research as well, to find our own ways that connect with us on how to save money. And the other one at the current time is that I can come up with is, if you don't have to carry nothing big home, walk. Ride your bike or electric scooter or unmotorized scooter, you know. Walk instead of driving the car, because at the moment things are getting expensive. We're having to tighten our belts and our purses in a way, because things are getting pretty expensive. So if you can save $1 here and allocate $1 there, or put another $1 into savings, you know, that's another $1 you get later when you might need it. This has been economic stress relief. I hope everyone's doing alright and they're not sweating too much at the petrol pump. So everybody, catch you later. Hey, future racer here. If you're finding the Phill-osophy Arc series inspirational, educational, entertaining, humorous, or it's giving you a little smile, think about liking and subscribing. If you have a family member, loved one, or friend who you think could equally benefit from this series, think about sharing it with them.